Te llamo para que vaya a recoger las paelleras. Y me acuesto en ya para abrir el restaurante que era el arroz. Y me llama el cocinero. Risita, ¿qué? Ve por la paellera. Venga, que a las 2 de la tarde ya están aquí. Mira, el bañador. En las chanclas. Todo despeinado porque no me dio tiempo nada ponerme las chanclas y el bañador. Voy a la playa, había subido la marea. Había subido la marea y encontré una paella. Y la encontré porque estaba la paellera agarrada metida entre las piedras de Chipiona, del faro. Y cuando entro en el restaurante me ve el cocinero con una paellera y a ver la vende paellera. ¡Asómate! ¡Mira dónde llega el agua! Llegaba el agua hasta el restaurante. Había subido la marea. Jesús, hay que hacer ahora con los 2 sacos de arroz. ¡Ay, llama para Sevilla! ¡Llama a Sevilla que traigo paella!
I do say this a lot, but this time around I'm not joking. I really didn't want to make this video because of how uncomfortable I feel just mentioning this guy's name. But despite the fact that he's no longer active on social media, I feel like another video is needed because this guy has hurt a lot of people, including myself. And I think it's for the best that people find out about what kind of torture me and many other people had to go through with this person in particular. The person I'm referring to is Mr. John, also known as Dr. Allen, which is an alias he went by on social media platforms like Discord. Mr. John may just be one of the worst people I've come across on the internet. He's way worse than Pickwick Carson, and he's way worse than Kevman Street Kids. In all honesty, he'll probably forever be the worst person I'll ever expose on this channel. Yes, he's that bad. This man is one of the most manipulative and disgusting people I've ever come across. And in this video, not only will I be documenting his terrible actions, but I will also be explaining my side of the whole situation and why I don't think anybody should trust him whatsoever. And I won't be doing this video alone, as I have once again brought on my good friend Zay for this video. This time to share his history with Mr. John and how Mr. John's actions have negatively affected him. So without any further discussions, let's go over the dark side of Mr. John.
Shut up, Mr. Yapper. How about date your girlfriend named Ari, who is 14 years old? That should stress you out too, knowing that you're a groomer.
Fuck USA, Harper.
Mr. John is not really a YouTuber. He's more of a mysterious online figure that just so happened to be in some of the online communities that I have also been a part of. Most notably, Mr. John was fairly active within 3 communities. The Oodle Member community, a community full of fans of the fictional character Toodles from the popular Disney Junior series Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, the Atlas YT community, run by a small YouTuber known as Alo Atlas, and the YBBC, which stands for YouTube Beatbox Battle Community, consisting of beatboxers and fans of the internet series Cartoon Beatbox Battles by infamous YouTuber Verbalize. Mr. John does have a YouTube channel that he used to post music on, but at the time of this video's script being rewritten, the channel was completely purged, and now only has less than 170 subscribers, which is definitely not much. I do believe Mr. John might have had a bigger channel at some point, but maybe it was deleted by Mr. John himself or terminated by YouTube. I don't know. What I do know, though, is that Mr. John has been using his social media platforms to hurt many people, including myself. And Chapter 2 will further explain how Mr. John has been hurting people.
I'm so bored. I hate having to work the night shift on my day off. I hate my job. I guess I'll just watch TikToks on my phone.
Mr. John began DMing me on July 25th, 2024, and proceeded to try and inform me of the accusations that were being made against him at the time. He even proceeded to start bothering now disgraced YouTuber Kevman Street Kids about the controversies he was facing at the time as well. Kevman felt very uncomfortable with the fact that Mr. John was bothering him and proceeded to tell him to stop, but Mr. John never did. So Kevman went to me for help. By the way, before I continue, I do want to say that all of this happened way before I would expose Kevman Street Kids. So if anyone does get confused as to why someone I hate would contact me over being bothered by someone like Mr. John, just know this part of the situation happened before I was no longer on good terms with Kevman. Okay, and back to the video. I've then told Mr. John to stop bothering Kevman, and then his dumbass proceeded to tell me who gave me the right to be involved in their argument, as if the answer wasn't already obvious. I told Mr. John to stop bothering Kevman because he was making Kevman uncomfortable, and was disturbing him whether he wanted to be or not. And Kevman was the one who told me to intervene because Mr. John refused to quit flooding his DMs. Then soon after that argument suddenly ended, Kevman ended up discovering some screenshots that showed Mr. John doing some very disgusting things to people. One of those screenshots in question depicted Mr. John sending a minor on Discord a picture of a cum rag that he used himself. At first, this was just an allegation, but now there is plenty of evidence to confirm that Mr. John did in fact take a photo of his cum and send it to a 15-year-old on Discord, who goes by the alias Wallguy, someone that Mr. John had a really gross history with, that I'll talk about more later on in this video. Anyways, in response to the screenshots Kevman discovered, Mr. John has gone on to deny that he has done the things the screenshots depicted him doing, as Mr. John said that most of the screenshots were fake. Also, if I remember correctly, Mr. John even claimed that most of the actions seen in those screenshots were also related to the YouTuber DynamiteBoo31, whom many of my mutuals may recognize, and another online figure known as S.A. Harper. DynamiteBoo31 is actually going to play a big role in this video, as a huge chunk of the Mr. John situation also involves him. In fact, DynamiteBoo31 may have been the whole reason as to why I was dragged into this situation to begin with. And this next chapter will prove just that. At the time of this script being written for this video, Mr. John has made most of his Google Docs private, including one where he made a whole section about me that I will be covering later in this chapter. For a while, I never had access to any of his Google Docs, but thankfully over time, I did manage to gain access to some Google Docs that Mr. John created, and can therefore showcase evidence of what Mr. John has been saying in his published Google Docs. After I called Mr. John out for the screenshots depicting him committing acts of degeneracy, Mr. John would then send me two now deleted but reinstated Google Docs he made in response to the screenshots of him jerking off to a minor that were being spread around on Discord. I would then end up calling Mr. John, and we talked as I was reading the Google Docs he had sent me. I'm just gonna save this. Some of what he said in those Google Docs was malicious. Basically, to summarize, in one of the Google Docs, Mr. John tried saying that he was allowed to save literal cheese pizza with the intent of exposing people and that he was being framed. That fifth statement Mr. John put under the summary he made for that Google Doc only proved that he is a pedophile and that he would be willing to become a pedophile in order to stop other disgusting pedophiles. That is not only despicable behavior on Mr. John's part, but it also doesn't make any sense. And as for that last statement, considering that Mr. John deleted the summary from the reinstated Google Doc and has kept the Google Doc private from the public, aside from showing the Google Docs to people that he knows he can trust, I'm also inclined to believe that he wasn't framed and was rightfully called out for his terrible actions, despite him claiming that others have claimed that he was innocent. Anyways, fast forward to when I blocked Mr. John and cut off all contact that I had with Mr. John. Mr. John then makes another, now deleted but reinstated Google Doc, where he had a whole section about me. It was originally titled Document Boo 31, referencing former YouTuber Dynamite Boo 31, but was later renamed to Section 3, being attached to the reinstated Google Docs, talking about the screenshots depicting Mr. John jerking off to Wall Guy. In the reinstated Google Doc, he claimed that the reason he made a whole section about me was because of the non-stop mentioning of my name from other people, including from Dynamite Boo 31, who of which the whole Google Doc was mainly about. Dynamite Boo 31 used to be fairly active within my community. Although during his final days within my community, he developed a huge tendency to vent to me and my mutuals about terrible online degeneracy that he committed. I can confirm through multiple instances of video evidence that Dynamite Boo 31 has said and done a lot of very weird things, and has since disappeared from the internet after his parents found out about what he's been saying to people online.
Like, everyone knows this, but I hated the person so much that I made someone show their penis in a Google Meet call. That's something I really regret doing. That's something I wish I never did, and I wish I fought straight before doing it, but I was just a really dumb kid at the time. I was just extremely retarded.
Come on, Kalo, please give me a second chance. I'm fucking sorry. Please. Come on, man. Please give me a second chance. You never gave me a fucking second chance before. You never gave me a fucking second chance. Please, I just want a second chance from you. I'm sorry. I'm fucking sorry.
Most of the videos Dynamite Boo 31 made were from a while ago, but they do confirm that Dynamite Boo 31 has committed disgusting acts of degeneracy as well. However, for the purposes of trying to keep this video on topic, I will not get into what kind of terrible actions Dynamite Boo 31 has done. This is a video about Mr. John, not Dynamite Boo 31. Anyways, getting back on topic, Mr. John would have then highlighted the two announcements I made in YouTuber Alo Atlas's old Discord server in response to after I read the old Google Docs he sent me. For the first announcement, I regret making that announcement and I no longer stand by it in the slightest. As for the second announcement, that was when I completely lost trust in Mr. John altogether. And that was when I blocked Mr. John and cut off all contact I had with Mr. John. Mr. John would then also highlight that I also hated him for his association with YouTuber Lulu Hatsume, of which I said previously in my Pickwick Carson update video that she was worse than Pickwick Carson in every way, shape, and form, of which Mr. John also decided to mention in section 3, aka the updated version of the Google Doc he made where he had a whole section about me. I have since taken back all the things I said about Lulu Hatsume in that video. While she has done some annoying things, most of the things that were being said about her were either lies or were things she's done a long time ago and hasn't done ever since. The whole situation surrounding her has been resolved, and the people most directly involved in this situation have since moved on from it. Also, before I continue, I would also like to thank Lulu Hatsume for helping out by providing me with the evidence I needed for the purposes of this video. Her channel link will be in the description for those who want to go support her and her content. Now getting back on topic, in the section of the Google Doc Mr. John made about me, Mr. John also highlighted that people ended up blocking me all because I was asking them for information relating to their side of the situation. This was what happened after I made that first announcement in YouTuber Alo Atlas's old Discord server. I wanted to hear from other people that were also involved in this situation so that I could form my own opinion on if Mr. John was truly innocent or not. But sadly, the people I reached out to instead proceeded to block me on social media and not give out any info. The two people that blocked me in question were YouTubers Ari's Art and Tristan Your Boy, or Tristan's Alt 1 as he goes by on Discord. Tristan is kind of irrelevant to this whole situation, so I'm only going to briefly mention him here. But as for Ari, she too has a rough history with Mr. John, and I'm going to talk more about her history with Mr. John as I now dive into the disgusting acts of degeneracy Mr. John has committed in the next chapter.
Fuck, do you want to date my
What the fuck? No, that is where you all go too fucking far!
If I already said it in the previous chapter, then I will say it again. Mr. John is a disgusting pedophile who has hurt and traumatized so many people, and there is clear evidence to prove all of the gross acts of degeneracy that he has committed and has tried to poorly deny, time and time again. In all honesty, I have no clue where to begin. Actually, let's start with Mr. John's history with Wall Guy, as the sickening acts of degeneracy that Mr. John has done to Wall Guy is just downright immoral. Of course, I mentioned earlier that Mr. John took that cum rag photo and sent it to Wall Guy, suggesting that Mr. John jerked off to Wall Guy, but there's also screenshots of Mr. John drawing and sending fucked up artwork depicting him owning a pet that appears to be Wall Guy's OC. In that same screenshot of Mr. John being accused of making that disgusting piece of artwork, Mr. John also confirmed that he was okay with engaging in sexual activity with Wall Guy whenever Wall Guy would engage in online sexual activity himself, while also knowing that Wall Guy is a minor. And if you think that's sickening, let's actually circle back to Ari's Art's experience with Mr. John, as what Mr. John has done to Ari is just absolutely unforgivable. There is literal evidence of Mr. John asking people to make NSFW artwork out of him and Ari as a form of getting revenge on her, which is honestly one of the most disgusting ways you could ever get back at someone, let alone a minor. Not only that, but Mr. John tried to get away with it too, by manipulating people into thinking that Ari was never groomed by him, which was what he said to me at first when I asked him about his predatory behavior towards Ari. But then this guy ends up backtracking his statement, trying to say that what happened was the opposite of what he thinks people are thinking. and that Ari groomed him. I'll talk more about the statement he made later on in Chapter 5. But for now, I think I should just continue going over more acts of degeneracy Mr. John has done, since there is still a lot to go through. Anyways, like I said earlier in the video, he also kept stating that he is allowed to save literal cheese pizza with the intent to expose people, even when the inappropriate content in question is censored. You know what's crazy about this statement? To this day, at the time of me rewriting this script, Mr. John still doesn't know why committing that kind of behavior is wrong, and is asking people like me why it's wrong. Oh, and it gets worse, because this monster had the audacity to team up with disgraced Beyond and reaction YouTuber Foxy the Fox 110 to create and publish a Google slideshow that is nothing but cheese pizza. And you wanna know what Mr. John and Foxy's intentions were with the disgusting slideshow? Their intentions were literally to expose Ari, who, like I said earlier, is a minor at the age of 16. And all of the disgusting cheese pizza that Mr. John included in the slideshow as quote-unquote evidence were all from 2022 to 2023, back when Ari was 14 to 15 years old and has since moved on and matured from. Plus, there was a ton that Mr. John and Foxy included in the slideshow that they each had in their possession, and it honestly disgusts me. What disgusts me even more, though, is the fact that they have the balls to make the slideshow public for people to see. Yeah, no, I'm not lying. These guys literally think that publishing a slideshow full of cheese pizza is a smart idea, yet making public responses towards allegations being made against them is apparently a bad thing. I understand most people stay silent whenever they get into any form of controversy, but it's never a good idea to stay silent about it forever. Eventually, you are going to have to address your side of any situation where you're being presented as the one in the wrong. Otherwise, you are most likely going to be facing an endless wave of online harassment, unless you somehow get lucky. Anyways, let's get back on topic with what I think is the worst thing Mr. John has done with the kind of pedophilic behavior he's constantly exhibited. Mr. John literally admitted that he recorded a cheese pizza video of a minor who was 14 at the time and had the video up on YouTube for over 3 months until he posted a censored version. Mr. John even tried to argue that he was allowed to record it and save it as evidence, which I personally think is sickening on Mr. John's part. He's forcing minors to send like naked photos of people.
No, he's not forcing them. The Young Drugs willingly was like told to do it by renders. But Mr. John really didn't do anything. The only bad thing he did was record the entire thing and save it for 3 months straight. I have no idea why he did that either.
What the fuck is this about you saving?
No, like look, I'm allowed to have that save because I am like an investigative.
No, the fuck you are not! That is illegal!
No, listen.
Even when it's censored! How the fuck do you are still fucking asking me that, dude, you are still fucking asking me.
Like, listen, you never cared to even talk about it. You know, you had all of this time to contact me and tell me, but you just chose not to.
I shouldn't fucking have to. You're 18 years old. You should know why committing that kind of behavior is wrong. It's literal cheese pizza. Having any amount of that kind of shit saved in your files or hard drive, even when it's censored, is illegal. How the fuck are you still thinking that it's not wrong?
Look, I'm allowed to keep it safe because I'm an investigating party, and my documents and all those videos I made was proof of that. Now, just Falco, I don't know why you're still complaining about the DM shows, because you should already know I realized that all mistake after the full version came out. And, you know, I took all that stuff down already. The 5th one, you know, was where I, you know, basically admitted and apologized and all this stuff. And, you know, as far as I'm aware with the announcements from other servers and, like, the actions of DMs and renders since then, I feel like I've made the right choice about it, and, you know, I'm, like, properly moving on from all of that. Now, DM, obviously, he's in the wrong, but so is renders, and I really want, like, him to leave renders.
But sadly, Mr. John's list of degenerate actions doesn't end there, as Mr. John also admitted to people before that he asked people for cheese pizza, as well as asking for ERP-related content on top of that, which is just absolutely disgusting. He also admitted in this message that he faked committing suicide, which only just adds on to the huge list of degenerate behavior that Mr. John has committed, whether it was for attention or not. It doesn't end here though, as Mr. John also admitted that he has a huge tendency to record private voice calls on Discord without giving anyone else in the voice call permission to do so, which is also illegal.
I would like to just let you know, I don't really know, like, why would you record it again? Why would you record the entire call?
I usually record calls. I usually do that. Like, that's just a common thing, basically, to get evidence and all that. Like, look, Fowler still never argued, like, any of the points. They never answered any of my questions. And, you know, it's just not what I would actually, like, prefer doing, but I felt like it was within my public interest because I was publicly known in the project. And
Mr. John, you're saying it's legal to make a video of private VCs and download them. Is this correct?
Well, it is legal to record them.
Look it up.
That's
Look
what
up
I
the
stated.
state law. Look it up if it's legal. Tell me. Look it up if it's legal. What state do you live in? I'm not gonna.
I'm doing it myself, man. I don't need your help.
Actually, now that I think about it, that does sound like a.
Okay, yeah, you're retarded. You're actually fucking retarded, Mr. John. Holy shit.
Okay. You know what? Look it up and present it. Look it up and present it. Present your screen and then look it up. And then
I'll do it for him.
And we'll see the truth. He is suspicious with silence. Mr. John? Mr. John, are
Yeah,
you
I'm
there?
looking it up. And yeah,
Present it.
it is legal.
Present it then. Present it.
All right.
No, I'll present it for him. I'll present it for him.
No, present it. No, let him.
No, I
present
have it.
Let him
I
present
have it.
It is illegal. It is fucking illegal. And yet you think it's not.
No.
From at least one participant involved. I'm a participant. So I'm allowed.
Well, did you give permission? Well, did you ask for permission from anyone to record the call?
I asked for myself, and I'm a one party, so.
Oh
shit! It does not count.
No bullshit. No bullshit. That's bullshit. That does not count.
Make it too.
That is bullshit.
No, like you have to do it for somebody else, not yourself, Mr. John. You don't count yourself.
Bullshit. Yeah, you don't count it for your fucking self. You can't give yourself permission to record a VC. That's fucking stupid.
And illegal, don't forget that.
Yeah. Mr. John's argument for this was that he only needed permission from himself to record private voice calls, which is obviously just a bullshit excuse for him to try and argue that recording private voice calls is legal, even though it clearly isn't, unless you ask people hosting the call for permission to record it, which Mr. John never did. Oh yeah, and to cap it all off, this guy is even a neo-Nazi, as he even admitted before that he'd given to help Hitler kill people that share Judaism as their religion, which is honestly just evil. I honestly don't know what kind of sick and twisted motives Mr. John had to start committing all these crimes left and right. But one thing I do know is that he is making attempts to either cover it all up or come up with bullshit reasons as to why he chose to do what he did in the first place. And I think Chapter 5 will serve as a huge example to prove my point.
And plus, man, stop calling me Chinese, man. All Chinese people just die right now. Brr. Man, I know. Man.
Mr. John would end up joining YouTuber IvanTube's Discord server on September 16, 2024, with the intent on doing more research on Dynamite Boo 31. During his time in the server, he would end up sending a long message directed towards me. This chapter will be dissecting every bit of the message in question, starting with the first paragraph. I was never in denial about the situation. Mr. John is one of the worst people on the internet, and he needed to be stopped. That's why me and other people have been trying to get him removed from as many Discord servers as possible. This is also the paragraph where Mr. John backtracks his statement, saying what happened was the opposite of what he thinks people are thinking. As Mr. John thinks I'm trying to cover up what he believed to be a fact that Ari's art groomed him. Ari is a minor. How the fuck can a minor groom an adult? How is that even possible? Also, this statement is very hypocritical on Mr. John's end, because in one of Mr. John's Google Docs, he stated that he criticized another online figure I'll be briefly mentioning later on named Tom the Dog for also arguing that minors can groom adults. But I guess Mr. John forgot that he did that, as he then backtracked that statement by saying that a minor groomed him here in this response. If this is not hypocritical on Mr. John's end, then honestly, what is? Now on to the second paragraph. Yes, it is true I didn't want to be involved in any further drama relating to Mr. John, considering how much of a catastrophe it ended up being. But the reason I continued to be involved was because others were mentioning how terrible of a person Mr. John truly was, and how uncomfortable my name being associated with his made me feel. That right there was why I continued to try to remove Mr. John from as many internet communities as I could. Mr. John does not deserve to have any social media platform to speak on. What he really deserves is to be locked up in a prison cell for the terrible and disgusting crimes he has committed throughout his time on the internet. As for Tom the Dog, I don't know who he is or why he's relevant to this situation whatsoever. It's most likely Mr. John is bringing up random people to try and argue that he is allowed to save cheese pizza with the intent on exposing people, which I think is sad, pathetic, and just disgusting. Continuing with the second paragraph, Mr. John also tried to pass the blame onto now disgraced YouTuber Kevin Street Kids for being the main reason the whole situation started, when Mr. John was the one who started DMing me and Kevin from the very beginning. So he's trying to act all innocent here, when we all know he's clearly trying to cover up everything he's done. Mr. John, you're not slick, and you never will be. As for the third paragraph, the only thing I have to say about the third paragraph is that the only way this whole situation will be resolved is if Mr. John takes full accountability for his actions and apologizes, and then leaves the internet for good at the very least. And for the final paragraph, Mr. John, you're never going to use IvanTube's Discord server or any Discord server or Guilded server for shit anymore. At this point, quit planning whatever you were going to plan on doing next regarding anything on social media. Because now that this video is out, you are not allowed to run. On a side note, another thing about that final paragraph that I find hilarious is that Mr. John actually thinks that Aiden Gilly and Aiden TV are two completely different people, when Aiden Gilly is actually Aiden TV's real full name. Yeah, I too can't even begin to describe how fucking stupid he sounded when he put that in his statement. If anything, that just proved how idiotic Mr. John can be. And yet, we're still not done with this situation, as it ended up getting a lot deeper than it needed to be.
The Lord there lead the hello home. Hello line. Hey,
After me and my mutuals' efforts to remove Mr. John from as many Discord servers as possible were carried out, Mr. John began harassing people on Discord and was flooding their DMs and group chats, telling people to quote-unquote stop ignoring him and to unban him from their Discord servers, claiming they did nothing wrong. I don't know what Mr. John meant when saying quote-unquote they, as he was the one who was doing things that were wrong, and that gave those people enough reason to remove him from their servers. But then, on September 18th, 2024, YouTuber Alo Atlas would go live on his second channel, and Mr. John ended up taking that opportunity to start harassing him in the live chat. Then, someone in the stream gave Mr. John the code to join the stream, and Mr. John would then use it to join the stage. What soon followed was him showing how much of a dumbass he truly is. To start, when everyone in the stream brought up the screenshot of Mr. John asking for NSFW artwork out of him and YouTuber Ari's art, Mr. John literally said that Ari quote-unquote deserved it, even though Ari was a victim of Mr. John's disgusting pedophilic behavior. Yet Mr. John still tried to push the narrative that Ari groomed him, even though Ari is a minor, and a minor grooming a grown-ass adult makes no sense whatsoever.
Mr. John.
Well, why Mr. John here?
Okay, I'm
the guy said this. The guy asked for NSFW commissions.
Bruh, nah. Oh, you want to talk about that? Okay, yeah, we can talk about that. Look, I'm gonna tell you this. She fucking deserved it. Honestly, it was deserved for me to be asking for that. And for all the stuff that she was getting me involved to.
So you admitted it.
I think it was deserved for me to do. Like claiming out it. Yeah,
How
this
was it
deserved.
you?
Don't
How was it
messages. That
First,
was deserved. That was deserved.
Then later on, I ended up joining the stream and questioned him about Tom the dog. So Mr. John ended up talking about Tom the dog again. Two things that Mr. John pointed out were that he said that he was on a call with him on the day the stream was taking place, and that he tried explaining who he was and why his actions gave him the excuse to download cheese pizza so he can use it to expose people.
Okay, now you want to question me about Tom the dog? Okay, yeah, alright. Let me answer you on that. So, as I said, bro, Atlas, let me talk here. As I was saying, in the document, when I was talking about the whole case about using, CP to expose people, that was like, and like one of the last things. The reason why, I talked about Tom the dog, bro, no, he's not. In fact, I got in contact with him today on Discord, actually. Basically, Tom the dog, I'm aware now that there was multiple videos where, he's been exposed and whatnot. But, I made my video about all the pre-1K drama and whatnot. And, there was a section about Tom the dog. And, I eventually replaced that. Bro, pre-1K drama, that's the video that I had up on my channel talking about the stuff that happened before January of 2023. But basically, Tom the dog, he was the guy that I argued and I exposed him on my channel. No. I never. It's not subscribers. It's like pre 1,000 days. You know that I've been online with this name for.
I honestly don't care how horrible of a person this Tom the dog guy may be. I don't know who he is, and he's not relevant to this situation. The fact that Mr. John is using him as an excuse to commit an act of pedophilia is sickening. And why Mr. John is still using his actions as a way to excuse the fact that he committed an act of pedophilia is a question that I'll never know the answer to. Oh yeah, and remember how he thought Aiden TV and Aiden Gilly were two separate people? Well, he still had that impression in the stream, and the logic he used to prove his point really only showed how stupid Mr. John actually is.
And there's also like other people like Aiden TV and like Aiden Gilly, and his actual name is Dino, and you know there's that Dino.
Bro, you are on bullshit when saying that. Aiden TV and Aiden
Wait,
TV
what? There's no way, bro.
Let Tyler speak. Let Tyler
Yeah,
speak.
like because like his actual name is Aiden. And
Let
that
Tyler-
and
Why did you say it like they were two separate people though? They are not. Aiden Gilly is Aiden TV's actual name. Bro, why would you
okay,
say
but
it
still,
this way though?
whenever you look it up on like the search bar at the top right, like those like
Nah,
those
bro.
terms
Bro
show up.
needs to go back to school.
No, like what I'm saying is that like those terms show up,
Go back
and
to
you know,
school,
I
man.
wouldn't actually need like click on the message to look at the context, and that would take up some time that Kevman did not give me at all.
The logic he used to try and argue that Aiden TV and Aiden Gilly were two separate people was that he thought both names connected to two different people, and that he used the Discord server search bar to come to that conclusion. I can't even begin to describe how fucking stupid Mr. John is for the logic he used to come to that conclusion. What makes this even more laughable is that the other person that Mr. John thought one of the names was connected to was Dynamite Boot 31, because Dynamite Boot 31's real name is also Aiden. Yeah, I too have no clue where he got that conclusion from either, other than the stupid logic he tried using to prove his point. Anyways, later on in the stream, I brought up the screenshot of when Mr. John questioned me of who I was to suddenly get involved in his conflict with now disgraced YouTuber Kevin Street Kids when he started DMing him. When I brought the screenshot up, Mr. John would then start yapping about how he was within his right to invade Kevman's privacy because of the conflict Kevman was having with former infamous Discord user RossoTX, despite Mr. John having literally nothing to do with their conflict whatsoever. I mean, with what you started DMing him with the stuff you began DMing him about,
Bro,
no
Mr. John, you changed your PFP.
Exactly, like again,
Didn't
yeah,
know
like that
who
is
you are.
weird,
That's why he was
uncomfortable.
calling you a stranger. And he didn't
Yeah,
want to
you know,
talk to
like
you
DMing
because
him out of
you sounded very
nowhere,
fucking
never
suspicious.
gave me a chance
I
to talk
should've
to him.
listened.
You know, like, look, I like realized that there was like something wrong with my approach, but I still had reason to contact him because there was that document exposing him that Rosso was working on, and that is what led me to contact him in the first place.
When I called out Mr. John for saying that, he would then say that Kevman never gave him the chance to talk to him, basically saying that he wanted Kevman to be more open about what he was trying to tell him. Needless to say, I don't think Mr. John realizes that the things that he tried DMing Kevman about rubbed Kevman the wrong way, and that he isn't very open to those he doesn't know. I do find it disappointing that Mr. John didn't respect Kevman's privacy and proceeded to disturb him, trying to ask him things that he wasn't comfortable with talking about. Honestly, if Mr. John didn't even bother Kevman to begin with, I don't think I would have had to make this video, as the drama wouldn't have completely escalated if that never happened. But sadly, that obviously was not the case. Anyways, once Mr. John was done going over his reasoning for DMing Kevman, I then brought up the reply YouTuber Arizart sent to me, saying that she was going to block me for mentioning Mr. John. This reply was sent around the time Mr. John claimed in the stream that Ari and him were on better terms with each other. That was around the time you fucking said you were on good terms with her. And then she hits me with
I know, like, we were.
Shut up, shut up, shut up,
Mr.
shut
John,
up.
I'm
Isn't that a
banning
little
you.
hypocritical,
Shut the
John?
hell up.
Isn't that a little hypocritical? Yeah,
No.
that's what I thought. That's what I fucking
No,
thought.
let me talk now. I don't know why people were.
No, we're not.
No,
you're
you
cooked.
better.
You're fucking cooked. You're literally fucking cooked.
No, now let me. No, I gotta clarify the last thing that he just said here. Because, again, like, even though she said that, I've, like, given a proper explanation for this in the server. You know, she didn't want to be reminded of me. She wanted to move on. During the time I agreed to move on from her, I haven't contacted her in a long while. And then
fucking prove it. When I brought up the reply Ari sent me, questioning Mr. John's statement on him being on better terms with her at one point, Mr. John chose to retaliate by saying that Ari wanted to move on from him and that he too wanted to move on. Of course, providing no evidence to back his statement up and just expecting people to believe what he's saying, as well as forgetting about all of the disgusting shit he said and stood by relating to Ari prior to the retaliation. At the end of the stream, I told Mr. John that if I wanted to somewhat believe what he was saying, then he had to reopen the Google Docs he created and not gatekeep evidence from people. With the type of shit that you're being accused of, it's very hard for pretty much any of us to believe a single word you say. So if you want us to believe anything that you're saying, reinstate the Google Docs. Reinstate them.
Okay. I will reinstate the docs. Just give me time so that I can make sure that when I release the doc, it's not a massive privacy violation, alright?
Ever since I made that statement, he did create new versions of both of the Google Docs I mentioned earlier in the video and gave them brand new names. Although, he never published the Google Docs to the public. His reason for not sharing the Google Docs publicly for everyone to see? It's because he thinks people will use them to attack and harass other people he had mentioned in a negative light in said Google Docs. Admittedly, this is actually something I am against people doing, and honestly, that was not my intention when using his Google Docs for this video. My intention was to use them to expose Mr. John himself, and give my own responses as to what he said in those Google Docs. I never intended to use them to attack or harass other people, and I never will. Honestly though, I don't think the reason he gave to people publicly was the actual reason why he never shared the Google Docs publicly. I feel like his actual reason for not sharing the Google Docs publicly was to simply gatekeep evidence from people like me that were planning on using his Google Docs to expose him and argue over what he was saying about people in said Google Docs. Basically, Mr. John just did not want to share his Google Docs outside of sharing them with certain people on Discord, simply so he can continue hiding from people that know the real truth of who he truly is as a person.
What is up, everybody? It's me, Forever Zay here. I will try to make this little part quick, but also, you know, a little bit informational to the ones who are, you know, need to be caught up with a lot of these situations or situation that's been partaking at the moment, which is the Mr. John and Dr. Allen situation, or the dilemma of whatever, man. So basically, Mr. John has been called out for a lot and a list of things, including but not least asking for NSFW commissions on Man Jr. Studios DMs. Basically him asking if he could draw Ari and Mr. John, which Mr. John was basically asking if Man Junior Studios can make a little commission of, you know, him, Mr. John, that's the him I'm talking about, and Ari having intercourse with each other. If you know, then you know what that means. And then when me and Tyler reached out to Mr. John on a random stream, like a little rando stream, he said that basically he deserved it, that she deserved that little art of Mr. John and him having, you know what. And honestly, seeing that makes me a little disgusted. Like, bro, it's just pretty messed up for you to ask for something like that, because you do realize Ari is not in your age and that Ari is literally like 14 while you, Mr. John, are around 18 years old, 18 or 19. And you I mean, this just honestly goes to show that's just activity of, or, you know, just a little bit of activity showing your true colors of being a, you know what, a little P3DO. Like, honestly, that's just calling that pedophilia activity, because if you're just gonna ask for, you know, just that type of commission, it's going to, like, hurt them eventually. And plus, the worst part is the age gap. And I already said this many times. I already said this like one time, but I'm going to say this again. Ari's literally 14 years old. And you, Mr. John, on the other hand, is 18/19 years old. And in fact, you even said that you were, you know, like 18 a little while ago when I was in a call with you. Now, you said to me that a while ago, in my call back in August 18th of 2024, you told me that Ari was quote unquote grooming you. And to be honest, I have to agree with what Tyler says. How come can Ari actually quote unquote groom and somebody that is not even their age? Like, I'm not trying to be rude here, but that's just honestly making false accusations, throwing names on Ari isn't really gonna help. Plus, you're the one who was asking for, you know what, intercourse art with you and Ari. You're the one who is basically being weird. Ari was weird. Like, I could see, but it doesn't really excuse her. It doesn't really make her look very bad compared to you, Mr. John or Dr. Allen. And the worst part was that you even had the audacity to fake your death. According to Burrito Guy's DMs, you literally also asked for CP, and you even admitted it. You even said, I'm sorry for asking for CP, the whole faking death thing, I was out of my control, asking for ERP, and being manipulative and incredibly selfish. And then you're saying that you weren't trying to manipulate us, right? You were saying that in one of a random streams. I'm not like, you were saying that on one of a random streams, a rando streams, and then you went ahead and admitted it. So that literally proves you are a controversial person. That's enough evidence for me to prove, and Tyler as well, to prove that you're a very bad person to others around the community. There's no going back into just apologizing for that, because now you've done a lot of worse things. Like, it's just worse than just asking for CP and all that stuff. The worst part, honestly, it doesn't really matter at this point. You forced User 10, you forced literally others to talk to you and ignore and just stop ignoring you. Like, we have the right to ignore you if you're really controversial, if you're really trying to get your side. You're over here saying you're trying to get your side of the story, but like, listen, I already heard your side of the story. We also heard your side of the story in the call too. You literally DM'd us separately, one-to-one, and then told your side of the story, and now you're asking to tell your side of the story again, like as if we haven't even heard it in the first place. Mr. John or Dr. Allen, please go ahead and get some help, actually, and quit the internet for good. Because ain't nobody want to see you literally just wandering around the internet and just acting like you're all innocent and all that stuff. And by the way, if you guys have him friended, please block him, please report him, or whatever you guys do, just block him. I'd say do not harass anybody or any individuals mentioned in this video. This is only me to take my side of the story and to just talk things out a little bit. So I hope you guys have a really great day. And then again, there's one more thing I have to just say before concluding this part. So before I end off my part officially, I'll just like to say Mr. John has been saying the N-word too. And he's been using this really stupid excuse of saying, but I have the N-word pass. I have the N-word pass. No, you don't, bro. And even if you do, there's no excuse whatsoever. There's nothing to prove valid. You can't just say, oh, my black friend gave me the N-word pass, so I'm allowed to say it. No, you can't, bro. Like, is there any reason to just, make a little claim on that? Just say that, oh, yeah, you know what, I've been just trying to get away from my actions and even said the N-word to a guy. Yeah, I'm gonna get away with that. If you're thinking of that, if you're having that little mindset of you thinking you're gonna get away from that, stupid little thing you're doing, you're terribly incorrect. Because like, we all have the evidence, but yet you still remove the document. It's just that's just honestly pretty amusing. And I'm gonna be honest here. The worst, it's pretty funny that you also said to us one time that you said you quote unquote I can't really say that, but if you know then you know. It starts with the letter J. Well, like you J'd off to something to like a person in DMs, and then you told me that you weren't doing that. This wasn't you in the picture, but it is you. Clearly, the entire time it was you, because you just said it was you a few months ago, or actually a month ago, before you even came and then just said to me, oh, but this wasn't me. Well, honestly, the screenshots don't lie, the pictures don't lie. So all in all, please do not trust Mr. John whatsoever. This guy has also been putting Red Eye Fan into a huge mental breakdown. Actually made Red Eye Fan one of my biggest friends depressed. It just honestly just pisses me off that Dr. Allen is still getting away from what he has done, and if anything, let's just stop from him. Let's just stop from him trying to manipulate us, manipulate our brains, and all that stuff, because otherwise it'll get worse. And also, I'm really sorry if I couldn't really say or word out my sentences properly. I just honestly feel very sick today. And so yeah, thank you Tyler for featuring me in this video, and yeah, back to you, Tyler.
Now, before I do get into where the situation currently stands as of this video's release, I am aware there may have been a lot of other things related to the Mr. John drama that I forgot to include in this video. If you want to hear more about the Mr. John drama, I do have more videos on my channel where I partook in confronting Mr. John and questioned him about his disgusting online behavior. You can find those videos using the link in the description, or by clicking on the card button in the top right corner. Anyways, let's get into where the situation currently stands today. At the time of me rewriting the script for this video, Mr. John has not taken accountability for his actions or has apologized for his terrible online behavior. Although, on February 17, 2025, Mr. John would end up deleting his Gilded account, as well as purging his YouTube and BandLab accounts. And honestly, good riddance. As for where Mr. John is now, sadly, Mr. John is still active on the internet and is still on the run. There have unfortunately been recent instances where he has added some rather cryptic messages on his YouTube channel since completely wiping everything he originally had on the channel. But despite the fact that Mr. John is still on the run, part of me does think that he won't be for long. Considering that most of his social media accounts have now gone dark, and that it's now more likely that law enforcement will be after him for committing multiple cybercrimes, I'm sure Mr. John will eventually, and thankfully, be behind bars when the right time comes. Until then, all I have to say now about Mr. John is that he is one of the worst people I've ever had the displeasure of meeting on the internet. And he belongs in a prison cell for not just committing several felonies, but also for hurting minors and just overall being a piece of shit human being. That's all I have to say in this video. I really hope this will be the last time I'll ever have to make a video on Mr. John in general, but looking at how things are going, it most likely will be. Anyways, thank you to Zay for helping me out with this video, and with that, this is Tyler TV, signing off. Stay safe, everyone. Okay, so before this video does actually end, I do want to make an addendum here regarding the aftermath of Mr. John. This addendum was made on May 4th, 2025. So it turns out, shortly after I posted the court case call video on Mr. John decided to go and hide on other social media platforms that me and a lot of other people didn't know he was on. Mr. John chose to hide on burner accounts on X, Luckai, and WhatsApp, as well as gaining ownership to a completely random Discord account known as quote-unquote Trick FDSRE. Unsurprisingly, Mr. John has used all of those accounts to harm people. Most notably, on his X account, he would make comments harassing a random 18-plus artist over them drawing what he claimed was diarrhea, as well as making right-wing politically influenced comments, really suggestive comments regarding sex, and other comments complaining about random internet drama. It just seems like Mr. John's only goal at this point is just to make as many enemies on the internet as possible. And to me, that's just sad as fuck. But it also does prove that Mr. John is still on the internet in some way, shape, and form. And the harder that we try to get these accounts reported, removed from the internet, and reported to the authorities, the more likely the world will never have to deal with someone as disgusting as Mr. John ever again. That's all I have to say here in this update, and in this video overall. Thank you to YouTuber and ex-user Cota Creations for the updates given for the purposes of this video, and any additional updates that I make regarding Mr. John will be left in the description in case there are any. Anyways, before I go, I do have some final things that I do want to say to Mr. John personally.
Stupid people like Tyler TV and Big Spark and even UDM were trying to defend me in the live chats and servers.
You fucking demanded me to defend you back when I knew very little about the terrible things you've done. Defending your sorry ass is something that I'll forever regret doing until the day I die. And I'm sure everyone that has said or done anything remotely nice to you is also something they'll forever regret doing too.
I'm only doing this Drake song because I treat y'all like a joke.
How ironic, knowing that you yourself are also a complete joke. Go fuck yourself, Mr. John.